Okay. Everyone, it's good to be presenting to you virtually. Sorry, I can't be there in person, and it's nice to see so many familiar names online as well. I am Judy Robertson. I'm a Professor of Digital Learning at the University of Edinburgh, and I'm just going to give an introduction to our project, which you'll be seeing other parts of it this evening. And I think if you've attended the previous seminar, I think the last one was maybe in September, you perhaps had a chance to meet some of the young people who were involved in the project. And I certainly thought that they stole the show last time, and certainly had some very useful things to say. And the whole purpose of that project was based around trying to explore what futures of education might be possible or desirable with AI in conjunction with young people, who, after all, are or should be at the heart of their own learning and have quite strong views about artificial intelligence. So this project was called Towards Embedding Responsible AI in the School System, and it was funded through the Bridging Responsible AI Divides programme, which is hosted at Edinburgh University and funded by the Arts and Humanities Research Council. And you'll see there we had a very large team of researchers involved, some colleagues at the University of Edinburgh and the University of East Anglia, as well as colleagues in digital skills education who are about to entertain you with their AI stage show. Our great illustrator, Elspeth from Dog and Fox, our Dynamic Earth, the Goodison Group in Scotland, and our colleague Laura Mayer as well, who you'll hear a bit of the work that she did shortly. So what we were trying to do in this project was, first of all, we wanted to find out what current policies were about using AI in Scottish schools, because we needed to know that before we started to have a conversation with young people about what they would like AI to be like. Or at least we thought we needed to know that. But then when we started doing the research, we realised that there wasn't a single coherent policy about using AI in Scottish schools. And that was one of the findings, is that there wasn't anything that was set in stone at the time we did the work, and there still isn't a lot of progress that's being made. We also wanted to develop educational materials, and there was kind of a co-purpose there to help children learn about generative AI, but we also knew that teachers may not know either, because it's an area which has just recently started, and there's actually quite a lot to learn. So we came up with a picture book and the stage show, which you're about to get a little taster of. But the main part of the project, the one which I think is maybe of particular interest to people in this room, would be the consultation that we did with young people about their views on AI in schools in the future and the issues that they were concerned about. And I think in the room you will see that there are copies of the zines that the young people created, and Jen will tell you more about that after I've finished talking as well. But it's really nice, even though we don't have children in the room, we do have their views in the zines. So if you influence policy, if you make policy, if you know somebody who does, then the zine is the book for you to help you with that. And that's part of the aim of the project as well, was to share young people's views with educators and policymakers and technology companies. Now that's the area where we haven't, I think, cracked that as much. So we need to make plans to make sure that people who are developing AI technology understand children's wants and needs in this area. So I'll tell you a little bit about what we did with the consultation with educational stakeholders at the beginning. So this was work that Laura Mayer conducted for us about this time last year. And she interviewed 23 stakeholders from Scottish Government, Education Scotland, the SQA, and various other places as well, just to try and understand, well, what policies might be or what the issues were that people were concerned about. And the concerns that people came up with will probably be familiar to this group before. Perhaps you've attended one of the previous seminars, or perhaps you're following the news about AI and you share their concerns. One of the biggest things was inequalities, whether generative AI would increase the digital divide, either because some parts of the country, some local authorities were using it and some weren't, or because some children have access at home and some wouldn't. We are in a position now where there are inequalities because some local authorities have entirely banned the use of generative AI and some haven't. That is a position that does make me uneasy, particularly because if you could use generative AI safely and responsibly at school, then it would mitigate digital divide caused by access at home. There are, however, good reasons for not rushing into AI, and it may be that policies have banned it because they're still working through some of the quite difficult legal challenges associated with it. People were also concerned about AI's bias and not taking into account diversity properly. The fact that it isn't transparent as to where it gets its information or its ideas from. The fact that it's unreliable. It so-called hallucinates, makes stuff up, and you can't tell when it's hallucinating and when it's accurate. Of course, the one that comes into the news all the time is about what if people cheat with it, what about plagiarism, which is a concern, but I don't think the only concern by any means. And just generally, there's the idea of, well, what happens to teachers and what is teachers' roles in classrooms which do use generative AI, and are we at risk of losing a social dimension of learning, which is something we know that children don't want. They want teachers to be a valued human part of their learning still. So if you're flipping through the zines or if you're listening to Jen's presentation later, have a think about, are these issues ones which the children or the young people came up with? And yes, there certainly are shared concerns. So what we discovered as a result of this set of interviews was that there was a huge amount of commitment and interest in the topic across different parts of the Scottish education system, but there wasn't really a joined up policy yet. And one of the things we saw an opportunity for was to capitalise on that willingness to work together. And we have a working group now with members from the University of Edinburgh, the SQA, Education Scotland and Scottish Government. And for example, we have a research project at the moment which is developing AI materials in conjunction with secondary school teachers. We have our AI teachers in residence. We have 6 of them who've been working with us, and they're producing materials for different secondary subjects. We're also working on an AI curriculum framework with other partners as well, drawing upon what is important, what are the values at the heart of the Scottish education system and how they might apply to AI, and also thinking about how that relates to the existing expectations and outcomes within the curriculum for excellence. And to accompany that, I'm beavering away at a Teach AI handbook, which would help teachers try to make sense of that. So I have the unenviable task at the moment of going through all the E's and O's and trying to work out how they relate to AI. Julie, you can test me on them later. Okay, so some educational materials. You're just about to see the ones which, or the experience which Daniel and Craig and Kirsty have created. But I just wanted to tell you about this book which Laura and Elspeth and I have made, which is called Exploring the AI Jungle. And it's a picture book aimed at probably upper primary school children. It comes with a poster as well. If you follow the QR code, you can download digital copies. There's a teacher's guide as well, and we have just sent a set of playing cards to the printers as well, as an additional resource. And the idea behind this was that we wanted to teach children about the big ideas behind generative AI, not at a technical level, but trying to understand roughly how it works and what implications that might have. And we decided to explore it using metaphor, the metaphor of being in a jungle and meeting all kinds of curious and interesting animals there. And each of the animals is a metaphor for one aspect of AI. So you'll find parrots and hummingbirds and spider monkeys, and also sloths. And the sloths are quite important because they are there to remind us that we can slow down and take time to think carefully about our policies, and we don't have to rush ahead at breakneck speed of technology companies. We're about to send out these books and posters to all of the primary schools in Southeast Scotland, I think. So I'm not quite sure where we are with our stuffing envelopes, but we're hoping to get those out soon. And you can download a digital copy if you want as well. Oh, and If you want a bedtime story version read aloud, then Kirsty is the star of video doing that, which you can get if you follow the QR code as well. So I'm going to hand over to Jen now, and she's going to talk about what young people want you to know about generative AI in schools. Thanks, Jen.